everybody. We are live and getting ready for our thyroid workshop. Hang tight. We'll be starting momentarily.
My name's Leslie, and I spoke to some of you on the phone yesterday. This is an interactive seminar, so if you have any questions throughout, please go ahead and ask Dr. Tomasetti. Obviously, if it's anything personal, HIPAA related, he'll have a few minutes after to talk to anybody that wants to, okay? So just feel free, and hopefully you guys will get as much information, and if you have any other questions after, not for him, but for anybody else, please know that we'll be here, okay? All right, you're welcome. There's waters in your bag, but if you need more, please just ask, okay, because we do have more.
I was looking for you, girl. But. Yeah. She also got on the I should have put you in the bottom. These are our boyfriend.
Okay. So we're okay. Yeah, which one? Oh, really? Okay. Okay. All right, so we're thinking different and opposite.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Glad you're here.
How many?
That's good. Ready to go.
So,
All right. So, it's like airplane, right? Like we get to center seats, right? Perfect. I'm Dr. Tomasetti, and I'm glad you're here today. And you're all over here for the thyroid information. I think that's part of it. Yeah, if you're here for something else, that's fine. You're welcome to hang around. Couple things quickly. My voice gets tight from time to time. Robert Kennedy Jr., love him or hate him, we got the same vocal thing going on. All right, so if you need to repeat something, don't hesitate. Make sure you ask, and I'll make sure you get the information today. Is that fair? Buckle up today. You're going to learn a lot, and we're going to show you in real time what's possible. Somebody today is going to get to be what's the word I'm looking for? You're gonna get. I'm not. No, actually, not anything. We're guinea pigging in a total experiment. We've done this a million times before. You're gonna see in real time what's possible. Somebody's getting an opportunity for healing today. All right, sound like a good idea? So let's jump into this one. I love this. We get to be part of some amazing stories here. All right, and so my body isn't fighting me back, and I can do the things I love to do. Do you ever feel like your body's fighting you? You're like, what is going on? Or you have to fight your body to make it happen? Yeah. So I'm going to show you some 3 really powerful truths that make the body work better and hope to unleash your healing. So briefly, my amazing family. I got a wife. We've been married 25 years this August. We got 6 amazing kiddos. And let's be honest, she's the one that keeps it all together. Right? So I got to give props where props are due. My goal for you guys today is this. I want to show you what's possible to get 50 to 100% resolution where everything else has failed. That seems pretty bold, right? Who's thinking, yeah, right? Baloney, I don't, like, how can you make that kind of claim? Be honest. If we can't be honest, you're thinking, everybody here is like, yeah, that's totally on board. Thank you, Mindy, for being honest, right? If we can't be honest, we got nothing. And that's fair, right? That's fair.
I'm thinking there's enough wrong, sure, we can do 50%.
There's enough wrong being, okay. Yeah, there's enough wrong being at least get 50%. Cool. So let's jump into this today. There's over 20 million people in America, not just ladies, but guys too, dealing with thyroid problems. And that's a lot, right? And this is old data, but it causes all kinds of problems. This is the bottom line, you already know this, so I don't need to explain all that to you. But it's in 1 in 8 ladies, which is more than men, and there's actually biological reasons for that in the way that your nervous system is myelinated, where the basically the development of the nervous system is different slightly in ladies than guys, and therefore you develop more issues with thyroid. But what are the traditional treatment options they've given you so far? First of all, who's been diagnosed with thyroid something or another? You know you have a thyroid problem. Some of you are still learning and figuring it out. Okay, cool. That lets me know kind of where to go. So again, any questions, don't hesitate to jump in and ask. All right, but for those of you that have been dealing with thyroid for a while, what have they given you? What are your options? What have you tried? Crickets, nothing. Nobody gets anything? No help for thyroid?
I mean, I can't be on medication, but they wanted to put me on it. But I fluctuate from hypo and hypo.
Yeah, hypo to hyper, and then they change, or they want to change
They
medication.
want to change it, but I fluctuate so much it would be like make adverse effects. Like, make it
Right.
worse.
Yeah, anybody else deal with something like that too? Not really, but low thyroid. And what do they give you for that?
Thyroid tablets.
Thyroid tablets. Yeah. Anything else you have options you've experienced or?
I have Hashimoto's, but I'm on supplements.
Yep.
And just watching your diet.
Okay, so yeah, the supplements and diet, awesome. And yeah, I mean that's about it, right? That's kind of all that's out there. Unless you've heard of something else. We're going to show you some couple other options for that today. But yeah, thyroid tablets, and in the traditional treatment world, right? It's medication, which is either medicating for a hyper or a hypo, right? They've got drugs that kind of try to balance either side of it. And then if it turns to Hashimoto or autoimmune, hey, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Jermaine,
Yes, sir.
out of Sun City, glad you're here. Let's catch him up real quick. What did Jermaine miss?
Oh,
See, the class is paying attention. Anything important?
You have 6 kids.
Nothing important. I have 6 kids. Okay. Yeah. We basically got to traditional treatment options are drugs, and then it goes to radiation surgery. That's kind of the path that you're on in the standard world. And that hasn't really changed since the 70s. Thankfully, they found fake thyroid hormone or artificial thyroid hormone, Synthroid, and it's levothyroxine and so on and so forth. And that's really helped to support a lot of people over the years. But it doesn't solve the underlying issues. And we're going to show you what that looks like. Hopefully avoiding all that stuff. And yeah, sometimes supplements and diet are big players in that. And there's another layer that we're going to talk about because that's still in the chemistry world. And that's not wrong, but hang in there. Let me show you what's next. Bottom line is we're trying to manage symptoms. Even with a lot of times supplements and that kind of thing or diet, it's like, how do we manage the symptom instead of actually fix the underlying problem? Are you with me? Does that make sense? So let's talk about what that looks like. I'm not going to stand here and mansplain to you what it's like to deal with thyroid problems as a lady, right? So you understand that way more than I do. But you've experienced the brain fog, right? The mood's up and down. Like, Sandy, I see you're shaking your head. Is this like you haven't experienced any of that?
None of it.
None of it. That's pretty remarkable. Yeah, I mean, great. What have you noticed? I'm just curious now.
Doctor said my thyroid is low. They give me Thyroid.
Yeah, and
End of
then
story.
and that's it.
That's it.
And so no real problems when they say, oh, it's here on your blood work, we're gonna treat that. Okay, just curious. Yeah. So a lot of people do feel drained or they get really sustained a busy schedule. Anybody experienced that before? Like, yeah. So these are common symptoms that go with low functioning thyroid. Yeah, brain fog, reduced clarity, stop showing up, and stop living sometimes. And so we see that a lot. And thankfully, Sandy, you haven't experienced those things. Maybe they caught it early enough where they were able to give you that bump with the, yeah. So these are really common. So what's another way to approach this if basically all they're offering is symptom management? How do we get to the bottom of this and actually fix what's causing it? You're like, that's why we're here, right? So here's the truth. Like, I never wanted to learn about thyroid. I was never like, oh, I'm going to go to school and be an expert in thyroid. I kind of had to learn the hard way. Anybody else learn through the school of hard knocks? You been there a little bit? So with my own family, coming back to that, 6 out of the 8 of us are dealing with thyroid challenges. So I've had to deal with this firsthand, personally. And one was my sister. She's 8 years younger, and she had Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune. That means your immune system is attacking your thyroid gland. For those that aren't familiar with that. And so I watched her because she got one of the symptoms with that is her eyes can start bulging. And so they noticed that. And then she had 3 surgeries later because when she would sleep, her eyes wouldn't close all the way. It was drying her eyes out. So they had to actually extend the eyelid. And she had multiple face surgeries. And seeing her go through that misery and go like, I don't know what to do. Like, how do we help? And then my wife's family, her dad has Hashimoto's. So that's, part of her story and just part of her history. We got to be mindful of that. And our youngest has Down syndrome. And that's another population with a lot of thyroid challenges. So I've really had to wade through this personally, like figured out and help support my own family in this. And then that kind of has developed into being able to put on workshops like this for you all. So that's a bit of background. So now I've gotten a chance to develop a lot of protocols and systems at work, and I get to be invited to speak on different things from time to time, and actually make protocols that are making progress, like making major changes. So that's a bit of my background with this. So here's the deal. Everybody's trying to get physiology to work right. So Sandy, they said, okay, here's your lab, and your number's off, and here's medication that's going to fix that, right? You've all kind of experienced, or many of you experienced that sort of thing. And you might have had other symptoms that we talked about that go into that. And then they give you chemistry of some sort, whether that's medication or supplements or diet changes. That's all in the chemistry layer that controls how the physiology works. Are you with me? And then, but nobody's talking about physics that actually make those layers run. And that's where we're a lot different. And so when I say physics, it's not that scary course from high school right? It's literally talking about light energy from the sun. We turn that into vitamin what? Vitamin, like this is becoming common knowledge now, right? So we know that the light changes how our body works and it makes certain things for us and it supports us in a healthy way. So we're talking about light energy. We're talking about electricity. The nerve system runs on what? Electricity, right? It runs on electrons, runs on electricity. And then magnets is the electromagnetic fields. The Earth's, we had a full moon the other night, right? So like the tide pool, all these things are electromagnetic, and that also influences how the body works. You with me? So these are the literal energetic layers of physics that allow the chemistry to work in the body that then make the physiology do its end job. You're tracking with me on that? Does that make sense? So then when things start to break down, we need to ask deeper questions, not just why is the number what it is on the lab. It's like, how do we actually change the function in the body to make it work the way it needs to work? This is as nerdy as we're going to get today, okay? I'm not going to go deeper than this, but here's what I want you to know. This is the electricity part. The way that we make energy for any work in your body is through the electron transport chain. You burn oxygen through breathing, and then it goes through the electron transport chain, and then you make 32 to 34 energy molecules from one oxygen. Okay, bottom line is there, you spend an oxygen dollar and you get 34 back of energy. Sounds like a good trade, right? When that system starts to break down, now we're running and we're burning sugar, and we get 2 energy as the backup. Would you rather have 34 or 2 in terms of energy?
34.
Right? Does that make sense? So that's the chain we want to be running all day long. And various things in our world, we're going to talk about in a minute, actually make that break down. So if we're running here, you get a pretty poor backup system, and you end up in an energy debt. Okay, does that make sense? So we have to ask the question, why in the world is that happening? And how do we support that? So we've got this energy debt, energy crisis going on. Every cell in your body, we talked about the physics of it, right? It's like a battery. It's a literal battery. Every cell is charged. And so when that battery is running at 80 to 100%, you can fix whatever you need to. Think about your cell phone. When when it's fully charged up, you can run all the apps. It's like whatever, it doesn't matter. When you start to lose power, now you got to pick and choose. So we have to make room for mutations. The body's making new cells. That's its job, right? I got to repair old cells and fix broken ones and all that. But then you have to make your quality control goes down, because you can't fix everything. So you got to make room for some errors. And then when that drops even further, now we're into autoimmune, when the battery is charged at this level. That's when your immune system starts attacking the extra cells you tried to make. So let's go back one slide. If you are running here and you're making 34 energy from one cell, and something breaks down, and now you're running 2 energy in that same cell, how many more cells do you need to make up the energy deficit? You need 16 or 17 more cells, right? You have to actually multiply the number of cells to create more energy. Does that make sense? At least to get you to that same baseline. So the first step in any disease process is an expansion of the tissue. Enlarged thyroid, right? Or if it's a liver, it's a fatty liver. Or it's a, cardiomegaly, a larger heart, right? So the tissue enlarges to deal with the energetic burden that's being put on it. Does that make sense? So again, if we have more cells, but they're inefficient, because we're running the batteries down here, when it gets to this point, now the immune system is like, man, we got all these new workers, but none of them are trained, and they're actually costing us way more money than they're making us. We got to get rid of these guys. And so your immune system starts attacking it. Are you tracking with me there? So here's the deal. When you drop the cellular energy level, the battery drains, so 40% or lower, that's when you have the ability to develop cancer. And now it's the Hail Mary, right? It's the last ditch effort. The body starts making all these new cells to try to make some energy. Let me ask you this question. Who do you know that has developed or have ever heard of heart cancer? Anybody heard of heart cancer? Why not? Why not, Paula? What do you think? No clue. If you're charged up north of 40%, if you've got more energy in your cell, there's no cell on the planet that can develop cancer if it's charged up enough. Okay, so if you have enough charge in your battery, you don't develop cancer. Now, this is not a workshop about cancer, but this is where it goes in the thyroid, for example. If autoimmune keeps going downhill, that's the next step in that tissue. So the big picture here is if there's enough charge in the cell, if the battery's charged up enough, your body can do all kinds of healing. Right? But nobody gets heart cancer because the heart's using more energy than anything else. Everything's going to donate energy to the heart to keep you running. If your battery dropped below this in the heart, what do you think is going to happen?
Cardiac arrest?
Yeah, some kind of heart event. Right? Your heart's going to give out before you even could develop cancer in the heart. Does that make sense? So this is the things that like nobody's really talking about, the physics of how this actually operates. So I'm trying to take your healthcare worldview and give you a different lens to look through. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that helpful to see? Because this is how we start thinking now on how to actually solve a problem and not just medicate it. Cool. Yeah, I'm getting a couple glazed looks. What's the bottom line here, though? The more energy your body has, the more it can do healing. That's the bottom line. And so if you have energy challenges, then we have to ask the physics questions. Why in the world is the battery drained? How do we charge it back up? You with me?
Yeah.
So it goes back to that physics part, right? Light, remember those three, we'll write those down. Light, magnets, what was the other one?
Light, energy.
Electricity, absolutely. Great job. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm going to skip Laura's story, but here's the bottom line. She had severe autoimmune thyroid. Her antibody levels were over 1,000, and they should be like below 14. Okay, so this means her immune system is cranked way up and beating up her thyroid day in and day out. She's been dealing with thyroid block for a long time. Her thyroid number, her TSH, you may have heard of that one in your lab work. The TSH is logarithmic, so you need to understand that. If a TSH of 1 was 1 hormone, a TSH of 2 would be 10 hormones. A TSH of 3 would be 100 hormones. TSH of 4 would be 1,000 hormones. You see how that works? So it's a big stair step. Hers went from over 40 down to 15 at this recording. So that's it's not just a 40 to 15 drop. It's a whole giant bell curve. You with me? So everything got better for Laura to the point she is smiling about it. Okay, that's the short version of that story. Nancy, yeah, I absolutely feel better. Okay, so these are just encouraging stories we could share. But for the sake of time, I want to get to the real meat and potatoes of this and show you what's going on with all that. So here's what I want to show you today is root causes. I want to give somebody that this is an experience where you actually touch it and feel it, not really taste it, experience what it's like to actually get some healing back, and then show you what next steps could look like. Okay, that's our plan for today. So number one is stress response. Okay, you cannot be in a state of crisis and healing at the same time. If your house is on fire, are you going to be moving the furniture around? Right? You're not rearranging. It's just, no, it's time to put out the fire or get out, right? Those are your options. It's fight or flee. So I want to show you here briefly how this operates. So the brain is really our controlling factor here. We've got what's called the hypothalamus in the brain, and that responds to stress. And everywhere you see a little X here is where thyroid hormone gets trapped or can be problematic in its conversion. In other words, they're only looking at TSH in your lab, by and large. They might be looking at some antibodies or some things like that. But that's the only thing they're able to treat with medication. But here's where the real story is. You can get a problem here, 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 here. So does that make sense? We need to look at all the different steps in the process to see where it's falling apart. You with me? So I want you to notice where stress goofs with this. It'll disrupt the signaling. It affects, there's another stressor right there. Conversion, your hormone conversion, stress will mess with that. Stress will mess with the absorption. Stress will mess with reverse T3, which is that's an adaptation to stress marker. it'll affect all these different areas. Okay, so the stress will mess up a lot of those areas. You with me? That's the bottom line you get is there's multiple steps in the process, and stress goes with most of them. So what does that mean? It means when we're feeling, we're ready to go be sociable, we're ready to go hang out with people, play, joke around, all that kind of thing. That's that social engagement part. Does that make sense? And then you're feeling in the present, you're grounded, you're having a good time, curious, asking questions, open, all that kind of thing. And you're like, I might do this, I might do that, I got choices and I got options. When we get faced with a stressor, then we start to go to sympathetic. I like to think of the little groundhogs, right? They pop up and they look around like, where's the danger? So that's kind of a normal thing. It's like, you've all experienced that before. Like, oh, is that something? Not a big deal. What was that noise? All those kind of things. That's this up and down. That's normal. When it goes too much, then you're either going to lean in to fight it, or you're going to run away from the danger, or you're going to play dead. And you don't get to pick, it just happens. It's the deer in the headlights thing. It's like, why don't you move? Well, I can't. I'm literally frozen in place. So that's when you get to freeze. So you got fight or flight, and then in the fight, you experience like rage or anger, irritation, frustration. You ever been there? Or on the other side, it's panic and fear and worry. And sometimes it goes back and forth between the two, and you think you're feeling nuts. Okay, like this is my experience with that. And then if it goes beyond that, now you're in freeze. You dissociate. You're flicking through Instagram mindlessly, or whatever you do to check out. Depression, numbness, helplessness, despair, feeling shame, like I'm the problem. It's my fault. You ever? Nobody experienced that? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure you guys are still awake. Like I'm not putting you to sleep today. So does that resonate for you? Does that you can connect with that a bit? So if your body is in this most of the time, are you able to heal?
No.
Exactly. Thanks for playing, Brandy. That's helpful. Okay. So you need to get your system out of this. And to do that, I'm giving you some really, really powerful tools. All right. It's taken me years and years and well over 6 figures to learn this stuff. And I'm giving it to you for free today, okay? So will you please use it? That's my one request. Is that fair? So this is so simple, you can teach like a 3 or 4-year-old how to use it. The handout is in your booklet, okay? But let's walk through this briefly. I'll show you how this is done. It's really simple. I want you to think of a stressor in your world. Don't go to like level 10, okay? Think of something that's like a 5 to 7 stress in your life. Everybody have something like that that's been that stressful at some point? And as you think about that, just kind of notice how you feel, right? For me, if I think about like, man, my stomach starts a little tighter, maybe some tension in here, and you might just need to start paying attention to how your body feels when you're feeling stress. So that's number one, just kind of notice what's there. Or pick an event and say, yeah, that was probably a level 5 or level 7, or you can kind of rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. Are you with me? Does that make sense? Does everybody have something like that in mind they're thinking of? Cool. So then the next thing you're going to do is just kind of notice what that's like. Then you're going to find the buttons on your wrist. They're all on the thumb side. And I like to put one hand on the other and wrap the bottom fingers onto the thumb side of the wrist. Okay? Let's flip it if I can. Yeah, like that. And then these are going to go. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yep. Awesome. Great job. Yep. You're right in the spot. Yep. Perfect. That looks great. Yeah, there we go. So, and that's simple. And then you're going to put this on the forehead. Because what do we do when we're choking? We go, right? When you're stressed out of your mind, you go. So this is the emotional reflex for the brain. One of them. So you're going to link up these buttons on the wrist, feel the stress. If you can name it like, oh man, I felt angry, or I felt scared, or I felt despair, or whatever the emotion is, and just give yourself a minute to feel that. And then just relax breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And typically a minute or two later, sometimes less, you'll notice it just kind of changes. It melts away. It just shifts. You might feel your shoulder relax or your belly relax or your breathing change. It could be a number of things. And then after a minute or two of that, you trade hands and you do the other side. There's different organs represented on the other wrist, so it's the exact same process, but on the other wrist.
So are you like applying pressure to your wrist?
That's a great question. There's that's like the pro level. There is difference in the depth, but whatever your body naturally does is the best one to use. So sometimes it's as light as a tissue, other times you're like squeezing.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter. Just feel it, breathe through it. Give yourself permission to feel the emotion with it. That's the key. And when that feels like that to shift it a bit, you can rest your hands down. Okay? What do you notice now when you think about that same event? Does it feel different than it did before? Anybody want to share an experience they notice with that right now? Who noticed some kind of change? A couple of you, yeah. Who's like, that didn't do a thing for me? Be honest.
My event's more like 20.
Yeah, so yeah, don't go to 20.
Didn't touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it. That's perfect. I don't want you to touch that one. Not in this context. But I invite you to try that at home, right? Sometimes it's easier to do that in a more private setting where you can actually feel it a little better. But good job on that. It's that simple. Teach this to everybody you know. It's very, very powerful. They have pre and post brain MRIs that prove that it works. So please use it, okay? And there's way more we can talk about on that. But the bottom line is this. When you're using this kind of stuff, it retrains the brain to chill out. Gets you out of fight, flight, and freeze into healing again. That's really, really powerful.
Should you feel pulse when you're doing it, or is it?
It's common that you will because there's a pulse right there.
I know if it's gripping too tight.
Yeah. You don't want to if your thumb's turning purple, it's too much. But other than that, you're fine. Yeah. Great question. And there's another one that's really helpful too. And this is just focusing on the area around your heart. Like in your mind's eye, just kind of picture that area around your heart. And then thinking of an event that's on the positive side, where you felt love and joy and cared for and full of gratitude. And then picture that emotion, that feeling of gratitude who's pumping from your heart and filling your entire body with that joy and that gratitude. Does that make sense? So again, really simple to use, but very, very powerful to train your brain to get out of fight, flight, and freeze. Because why is that important? You can't be in what?
Healing is in Christ.
Exactly. Thanks, Jermaine. Exactly. So when you start doing this, you see pretty cool stuff. Heidi was seriously anxious. She had a hyperthyroid. It was like all cranked up. We started doing this kind of work with her, and she started getting giant relief from her overwhelming anxiety. Just doing simple stuff like this to get her system to regulate again. And then teaching her how to support that at home. So that's a big deal. Number 2, you guys ready? Or do you need more on that one? Who needs to spend more time on the stress relief? All of us are all of us, right? So number 2 is inflammation. Who has heard that inflammation is like the scourge of the universe, right? It damages everything there is. So that's one of the big players for all chronic disease. Is that a familiar concept for a lot of you? Yeah, so here's what we need to consider with that. What triggers inflammation? What's the top one? Yeah, prolonged stress. That's why we started with stress reduction as number 1 helper. So number 2 then is pathogens. We're number 1 in the world for what in Pennsylvania? Anybody have any ideas on that one? What's like the worst bug in the Lyme? Yeah, Lyme disease and tick-borne illnesses. We're top of the stack. Yay, right? Good for us. But yeah, chronic infections can cause big problems with inflammation. All the junk food. No big surprise on that one. And then chemicals, medications can cause inflammation as well. Heavy metals, we need to talk about mercury for a minute. Mercury is a known poison for the thyroid gland, and it also disintegrates your nerves, right? It's just bad. So again, like we've got mercury over here, and now OSHA says, hey, we have to take care of that. It's really toxic stuff. But then your dentist says it's okay to put in your mouth, and then you're fine apparently. And then when they remove it and change out your filling to something else, now they have to be cautious. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it doesn't quite add up. Why is it toxic, safe? I don't know about that. But here's what I do know is that mercury poisoning can be a big problem for thyroid issues, and your dental health might be a cause of that. So you need to be aware of that. Okay. So, and then dehydration, you should be drinking about half your body weight in ounces of water a day as a general rule of thumb. And you would get some good, clean spring water. RFK is trying to get rid of fluoride in the water, which we know makes toxic thyroid problems. So fluoride is a big deal in this area too. All right? So no inflammation, you'll be fine. Okay? So again, here's where inflammation breaks things down. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Inflammation wrecks everything. So when you start removing inflammation, here's what we see happen. Isabel, a lovely French lady, very thick French accent, and she says, I'm in the top of the world, flying on a cloud no matter what. Whatever the circumstances are, I am feeling my best at 53. And a year ago, I was told I was very sick. When she came in on her intake form, she's like, if I don't change something, I'm going to be dead in 1 to 2 years. So she was in bad shape. We started to help her detoxify, get the junk out of her system, change her lifestyle habits, get rid of the stress, some other therapies we did there for her with hydration and light. And then she came in one day and she gave me a bill. She's like, Doc, I'm giving you a bill today. I was like, what's going on? You're doing so well. What happened? And she said, I need an entire new wardrobe. I've lost 70 pounds and nothing fits, not even my underwear. I like everything needs. So we had a good chuckle about this for her French sense of humor. But this is 70 pounds lighter. Completely changed her life. She had type 2 diabetes as well, and that went away. She no longer had type 2. So when you start making changes the body needs, the healing possibilities are almost endless. So just to encourage you with that when you start getting rid of inflammation. So now we're going to get into healing at the speed of light. We're going to start leveraging physics to show you what's possible and really what we can do when your body starts making more energy. So with that, let's do this. Who's been dealing with thyroid issues for more than, say, 10 years? Just one person? Well, that's okay. How long have you been dealing with that for, Heather?
Since probably 2010.
2010.
2012, maybe, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So let's do this. Anybody, your energy level right now is like 5 or lower on a scale of 1 to 10?
Struggling.
Struggling. Yeah. Where you at?
Probably 7 or 8.
7 or 8. So you're
Not
not horrible.
Yeah.
You've had a long time, but so whose energy is like at 2 or 3 right now? Or lower. You're like, put me to bed. I want to take a nap right now. Raise your hand, honestly. Yeah. Okay, Sheila. Paula, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm right there. Okay. So does anyone not want an opportunity to be treated? You're like, pick me, is that? Yeah. Okay, so between Paula, would you like that opportunity, maybe 2?
what is the truth?
It's not going to hurt. That's a great question. We're going to use light. Okay, we're going to use light and vibration, and that's it. Yeah, so nothing's going to hurt. Nothing crazy. You're okay for that? So let's have you 2. Here's how we solve these. When it's like a duel, we're going to do rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, you okay with that? A little fun. Remember that from like when you were a kid? Yeah. So you up for that, Paula? Rock, paper, scissors? Awesome. Sheila, here we go. Ready? So we'll do rock, paper, scissors, 1, 2, 3, and then shoot. Remember that? So 1, 2, 3, shoot. We got scissors and paper. Looks like Sheila's the winner. Come on up. Thanks for playing. So we're gonna check some things and show you what a kind of a screening is gonna look like for this. But like, we're gonna go through this here in a moment. Just let us know like what you're feeling. You said you're struggling. Like, tell me what that's like right now. What are you feeling right now?
I guess the easiest way to tell you is just a quick summary
Yeah.
of like my energy was starting to go down, but then when I had my husband's cancer diagnosis, a year and a half of cancer, I got COVID and the hospital closed, and I wasn't allowed to see him his last 11 days, and everything kind of crashed like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I got married again. We love
Yeah.
I'm trying to get going again.
Yeah.
Just not getting it done.
Got it. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So did you hear the chronic stress, right? Like that's a big deal. And then just,
I know that I need to get it out. I'm trying to.
Yeah,
but
you're
I
trying to
don't-
figure out how to
don't
do
know
that. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, and you don't even know how right now. But in this moment here, energy level, scale of 1 to 10, where you at now? 10 is like, I've got all the energy I need, and then some, and
My
0
preference
is,
is to go sit down.
Go sit-
That's
yeah.
not me.
that's not you. Okay. Got it. How long do you usually live at? When you said like you're 2 or so, I don't put words in your mouth. Where you at on that scale? Just we have other
I get
stuff.
up in the morning dragging, and that's depressing.
Anybody else experience that? Get up in the morning dragging. You still got to keep going through your day?
Because I like to sit up myself.
Okay. And how long has it been since you've been able to do that? He's like, don't look at me. So it's been years, it seems like then. I'm so sorry we couldn't tell you this sooner. Like, honestly. Okay. I'm also excited for you right now. This is going to be pretty fun. Let's have you stand here. And we're going to check some things for Sheila and see what's going on in her system, okay? And so, obviously, you have labs we've never met. I don't know anything other than what you just told me now. But here's what we're going to screen through, and we're going to check some things and see what our body is showing us. And we'll do, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. And then we're going to do the treatment, and then we're going to recheck and see how we did. Okay? So I'll be standing here, and we're going to check some range of motion first. Let the shoulders relax for me here. Let that go heavy. Yeah, there you go. And so that moves pretty well. A little clunk at the end. So I don't know if we're going to see any change with that. That one's a little tighter, isn't it? Yeah, right about there, it locks up. So yeah, that shoulder's a little tighter than the left one. The reason we check range of motion is one of the rotator cuff muscles, the teres minor, relates to thyroid problems. It's in the shoulder. So I'll bend your elbow here, bring the wrist backwards. You're gonna push that back into my hand. Yeah, and that's inhibited. And try this one here, bring the wrist backwards, same thing, push back there. And if it's only one of them, it might be a shoulder problem. When it's both, there's usually a thyroid challenge going on. And so just for history, that makes sense that when you find that. You can see why, if that's not working, we might have a shoulder problem. Does that make sense? Now, like, who likes to watch people? You go, like, what, people watchers? Oh, yeah. So what you'll notice, too, is I can say this, my dad drove truck for, like, my whole life. And it's a classic truck driver. They got the big gut, right? They got the butt, and their hands are backwards like this, right? And so when you see the hand turn backwards, that's a big clue that the thyroid's not working. Okay, does that make sense? So if that muscle does this and it doesn't work, it's going to turn the hand backwards. That's just a fun little thing. If you're people watching, you can check that. So hers are inhibited. We're going to check now for what's called repeated muscle activation. Remember we said you need to make 34 energy molecules from the oxygen? We're going to kind of test that system and see how it's doing. You should be able to do 100 contractions before it gets tight. Okay, so let's see how many you got. Arm's going to go here, thumb down towards your waist. Keep your elbow locked. I'm checking the muscle of the shoulder here. Just push up in my hand for me there. That one works fine. Okay, I'm going to turn the muscle off. Push up in my hand again. And that's normal neurology. It should turn off, push up in my hand, and it turns right back on. You notice that? Yep, right, caught that? So now we're going to see how many contractions can she do in a row before it just fails. So all you got to do is keep that steady. I'm going to pump on that and see how you do. Just easy peasy. Just keep a little, just like that. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 38. Yeah, 37, 38. Let's double check the other side here because it might be some other scenario. Hold
That
that
one
up.
doesn't go completely straight.
That's okay, as straight as you can, and there's no pain when I do that. Doesn't hurt at all. Great. Push up. Just making sure the muscles are intact. Push. It's normal. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 20, 6, 30, 40. So she gets a 43 on the left, a little slight difference, but still in that 37 to low 40 range. You with me? So in other words, she can't recycle and make enough energy to keep going and going and going. This shows me that her battery is probably running between 35 and 40%. It's kind of what you feel most days, like I just got a lift, right? Yeah. So that's one way we check that. And then the other one, you can check this on yourself too. There's a reflex for the thyroid gland underneath the collarbone, about 3 finger widths below the center. And it might be tender. And sometimes it's like tickling, like if you tickle yourself, it doesn't really work, but somebody else does it and you notice it. So sometimes that happens. But let me see what we got here. I'll just check for you here. So let's get right in there. Yeah, sore. Put a number on that. 10's bad, 0 is good.
It's pretty sharp,
Pretty sharp. Yeah.
almost like cutting.
Almost like cutting film. Okay. How about that here? Just a comparison to us.
No.
No, nothing really there. Okay. And same thing here, Sheila. Anything on that on the back there?
I feel it more, but it's not
Nothing major. But like right there, that's
very sharp.
similar to the left side.
Maybe stronger.
Stronger. Okay. So just another thing we can check for pain levels and inflammation. And then the other thing we're going to check is the team, right? So you saw those different X's on that chart. It's brain, it's thyroid, it's the adrenal glands, it's the liver, it's the gut. And so all these different areas relate to how the thyroid functions as a whole in your body. So we're going to kind of screen through that with reflexes. So you've had when they hit the knee and it kicks, that's a reflex. You don't think about it, it just happens. These are the same kind of thing. They're non-voluntary. So if there's a disconnect in the system, the arm's going to go from strong to weak. The nervous system's letting us know there's a problem. Doesn't tell us what it is, but just kind of what's like. There's something that's disconnected. Are you with me? So let me show you what this looks like. Hold that up straight for me here. Push up in my hand. Great job. The reflex of the brain is right at the hairline. Push up for me here. And so generally brain says, I'm still online. That's a good thing. We're going to check the hypothalamus. That's the top layer that relates to stress a lot. Push up in my hand again. Okay. And that one says there's a problem there. There's a disconnect. Did you notice the arm go weak? Did you feel that too? No, that's fair. Yeah, let's do it again. Push up. So that's locking in place. Push up there. I can use 2 fingers. Hold that up if you can. Okay. And that just goes right down. She's trying. Yeah, but that's a really good point. Yeah, definitely. Let's try that again. Arm straight. We're going to check now the thyroid. Hold up strong for me here again. Okay. Yeah. And that weakens. And push up again. And I'm trying, but it's the reflex. We're going to check the adrenal glands right down here. Hold that up strong. Okay, so there's tired out adrenals. And then we're going to check the liver right in here. Hold that up strong. Yeah, so she's got, and this makes sense if her battery's really low, we would expect to find different layers that are like, oh man, all these different areas can't deal with the amount of stress that's put on them on a day-to-day, whether it's chemical, emotional, structural, whatever. Are you with me?
I do have information on my liver. What condition do you think it's in?
So it looks like it's not keeping up with what's going on.
It's enlarged.
I would say it's large. Yeah. So that makes sense. But we didn't have that history. We're just still finding things. The body's just showing us reflexes. You with me? So now we know we got this whole other thing going on, and you got a history with liver inflammation, enlarged liver, and now we're gonna do some treatment. Is that again?
Just last week.
Just last week. Oh, so recent. So again, what do we know about her liver battery from that idea? It's enlarged. Is she at 80 to 100% optimal, or is she starting to right? Energy debt, making more cells, larger liver, because the battery's draining in that tissue. That's what I hear when I hear that kind of history. Are you with me? So they have to figure out what's draining the battery. Why is the body doing that? But at least we know where to start leveraging some energy. Okay, so awesome. Thank you for that. You may have a seat right here. Okay, there's the Queen's chair for a minute. And then, how are we doing? Awesome. Who's excited? Cool. It's gonna get better. So, Dr. Jeff's gonna step in and do the treatment for you. And while he's treating, I'm gonna be explaining what's going on. If you want to get up and move around and see, this is like, feel free. This is for you guys. Okay. So, what were the 3 layers of physics we talked about?
Like
Yeah.
electricity and magnet.
Exactly. A+, Jermaine. Good job, man. So when we start to use light, we're using laser in this context, we see all kinds of fun stuff happen. We start to see reduction in inflammation. We see antibody levels get better. We see the ability to regenerate thyroid tissue, reduce pain, inflammation goes down, thyroid function works better. You improve the immune response. T3, T4 ratio, that hormone ratio improves. Why would all that happen?
Recharging the electricity.
Yes, that makes sense. You're putting energy in to the body and it can start to then heal up again. You're literally recharging the battery with light. Think about your solar panels, right? And your lights that might be around your house or whatever, and like the sunlight charges that up, and then you got energy. It's the same idea. We're using light energy. The body has solar panels. It literally has photoreceptors, they're called. We know the most common one is the eye, right? And then we can see light. But then that starts to change how the body makes energy and uses the light energy and use it for healing. Very powerful stuff. So that's why all this stuff happens, because we're actually using the physics that God made the body with. All right. The other thing that we see here is the vibration. So the reason for that is that your thyroid hormone moves through your lymphatic system first. Okay? And the lymph is like the drainage, it's like the gray water from your cells. And so that needs to get pumped through. It gets pumped through with movement. And so vibration is a simple way to augment that and get it done quicker. You know, and nobody wants to go out walk in the rain. So, right, we got options in terms of supporting lymphatics. Vibration also relaxes the nerve system. Okay, the right kind. If you're pushing a lawnmower, right, that's a different kind of ramps you up. But if you got the right, think of a massage chair, right? Just kind of chills it all out. Same idea. So that's vibration therapy. Another thing we commonly use is the ion cleanse detoxes, and that's the stations over here. And I'm more interested in what's going into the body than what's coming out. You will see it turn color from clear to dirty, but I'm more interested with the energy it's supplying the body that allows the body to detoxify. So remember, inflammation is a big deal. This helps to reduce inflammation by helping the body get energy so it can clean out better. Each session lasts for about 48 to 72 hours. Pretty cool. So that's a common thing we use with this as well. And then what Sheila's in now that's not actually running at the moment. The last time I tried that, turned it on, and I blinked out my battery on the computer, so I learned my lesson the hard way on that one. It's like when your cell phone dies and you put it on the induction charger and you just lay it on the thing and starts charging it back up. This is the same thing. Literally, it's a magnet. It turns on or off really quickly, and that charges up the batteries in your cell. So that's a really powerful tool. Again, we see damaged cells are better, energy production is better, everything improves with more energy. Yeah, question?
Is it similar to grounding, or is it like a higher?
Great question.
What was the question?
Grounding. Is it similar to grounding?
Yeah.
Yes, in a sense. In other words, yeah, like if you're barefoot in the earth, you're getting the Earth's electromagnetic field that helps you regenerate your own. Yeah, so that's a similar concept to that. But we can get done in about 30 minutes with this. You would literally spend hours easily.
Yeah, 8 to 10 hours.
8 to 10 hours of grounding for about 30 minutes with this. Okay, not to mention, we got all the things that unground us, right? AC current is everywhere. The body runs on DC. And so these are DC current that actually charges the body the way it needs to be charged. Otherwise, we got Wi-Fi, we got all these other things that interfere with our systems that way that are day in and day out, right? So, great question though, absolutely. Wonderful question. The other piece of the puzzle then is nutrition and diet, which Alice alluded to as well. Really important. If you're eating junk food and sugar, does that put your body at more stress, or like it's just a common sense one? Right, so that one we need to make sure chemistry is working right. You're not like poisoning yourself with junk. By the same token, commonly gluten is a major irritant for people dealing with thyroid problems. Gluten and dairy are probably the big two that I see related to that. Okay, so now eliminating that's not going to charge the battery back up, and it's going to slow the drain. Does that make sense? So that can be a big help in a lot of cases. There's other technology we can use as well. This is stem cell. You've heard of stem cell before. So if you're unfamiliar with that, your body makes these kind of blank cells that can turn into anything they need to turn into for healing. And this technology activates that and tells it where to go. So it's to say, okay, here's your brand new blank cell. Go to the knee and make a knee cell. Go to the liver and make a new liver cell. Go to, like, does that make sense? So it can go and turn into whatever it needs to. Commonly, people that are dealing with thyroid issues also have other joint problems. So I mentioned that because we can leverage this technology and get a ton more energy into those joints and heal that up, get rid of pain, inflammation, and so on. And there's even research to be able to use it on the brain, because the brain is one of the main centers for thyroid problems too. You with me? So that's another option that's available. Brain fog is a big deal in a lot of cases, right? It just shuts down. You got no energy in the brain. For my own wife, Emily, we started getting rid of the other junk. She was kind of living on caffeine. Anybody been there? Yeah, like busy household, a lot of kids. And caffeine and sugar was just kind of keeping her pumped up. Did some detoxification, leveraged some energy with foot baths, laser, and got her system regenerated to where she didn't need to be on that stuff anymore. And, back to navigating a demanding household and homeschooling and all the things that we're a part of. She does amazing stuff with it. So that's that. Any questions on anything so far in terms of the treatment?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So with this treatment right here,
Mm-hmm.
How long does it last as far as the effects?
Absolutely great question. Depends on how many batteries are drained, right? And the other drains in the lifestyle. Okay, does that make sense? So like if you're whatever, emergency helicopter pilot and you're like saving lives in it, that's gonna be a way higher stress job than something else. So that's there are variables. Commonly what we've seen here, though, to be honest with you, anywhere from 1 day to maybe might be several hours to even up to a week and a half, just with one session like this. Okay.
So it's like the cell phone. As soon as you take it off the charger, it starts depleting slowly.
Yeah. So again, if you just if it was charged up and you let it sit there, no big deal. If you start running a bunch of apps, it's gonna drain the battery. That's a great example. Yeah. So everybody tracking with that? So it depends on how fast you're draining the battery, how often you recharge it. Yeah. Cool. And to be fair with this, we're only leveraging really two pieces here. We're doing light and we're doing vibration. We didn't actually apply any of the other elements. We're just using those two for this simple demo. All right. How you doing, Sheila? All right. All right. Yeah, what do you notice? I'm just curious about that right now.
On that thing, I could feel the vibration, and after a while, I noticed that my knees felt like ticklish.
Okay.
It was kind of unpleasant, and that was just before he went there with the light, and then that warmed him up, and then I could feel the vibration further up then.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if that meant anything or not.
Cool. Yeah, so that means like the circulation starting to move and things like that. What's going on with that? Yeah. What else do you notice?
It's relaxing.
Relaxing? Cool. Let's see how we did. Yeah, come on up. So besides the vibration, that was mildly uncomfortable for a minute, and then it's like gone. You're not still experiencing that.
I just assumed you didn't turn it off.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So she was like, keep it going would be nicer. Okay. Got it. So this shoulder, let's make sure we didn't break anything. We'll just relax. We'll just kind of go through what we did before. Good. That one still works fine. Let this shoulder relax completely. Is that different?
Yeah.
That's a lot different. Did we do 6 weeks of PT? Do we do strength training? Right? No stretching? That's kind of cool. Let's check the muscle next. Bend the elbow for me here. Bring that wrist, yeah, like that. Push out of my hand. And that's a lot different. Push out there. What do you notice with that? Stronger?
Main thing I noticed with the arm thing is when you pulled up before, it really hurt.
It hurt.
And I felt like you could have gone further now.
And there's no pain with that.
It didn't hurt.
Cool. Yeah, and do we we didn't treat a shoulder. We added energy to the body and said, cool, thank you. Now I can start to do my own job. So just think about it in your own workplace, right? If they give you the resources you need and the right that you need to do it, like, oh, cool, now I can actually, this is way less stressful. Okay, let's see how you did on that energy level here. Arm is straight. Good, turn the thumb down. We're checking that. Yep, we're doing 100. You ready? All strong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 83, 83. So we're not perfect yet. We only got how many minutes? Maybe 10? 9 or 10 minutes in treatment. Hold there for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30, 5, 6, 7, 8, 40, 50, 60, 70. Yeah, like upper 70s on that one. So almost that same ratio, right? Fatigue a little quicker here than on the other side. That's curious. Anyway, better? Yeah, significantly better. Let's check that reflex team again. So arm straight from me here. Pull that up for me. Yeah, and then we'll check that platelet found. Who's pushing up for me here? And thyroid, hold that up strong here. Better there. Liver. So liver still needs some help, right? That might need other things. It might need some diet change, might or at least more energy. And then adrenal glands, hold that strong for me here. So we started to see improvement in the other areas. We didn't get everything with the liver, but that's a great thing with this screening. Did we fix it or not? And we know we made a change almost right away. Yeah. Does that seem like that could be a helpful tool to be able to use?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you notice in terms of your energy? You said you were like pretty low dragging. Feel better. Can you say a little more about what is better feel like for you?
It's refreshing.
Refreshing. That's a great. When's the last time you felt refreshed at 5 or so on my watch bag?
It used to be when I had coffee.
We had a coffee.
But
Okay.
now it don't work.
Got it. Now the coffee doesn't work, and you feel refreshed in the evening, and that probably hasn't happened for at least a minute, I'm guessing. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I kind of use you for the demo, right? That's sort of the point. So you feel different now than when we started. Refreshed, lighter, awesome. Yeah. Can you see why we start winning? Has anybody seen a change like that before? Does anybody want to show you or demonstrate how quickly the body can start changing and healing? Nobody's seen it? Yeah. So this is why, imagine doing that day in and day out for 90 days, 120 days, 6 months. If you had the tools at your own disposal to go to treat daily, so you don't need the doctor, would that be right? That's our goal. Like, I don't want you here. Like, honestly, I want you to go live your life and fulfill the purpose that God has you for here. And that doesn't mean spending time with us as much as we can help it. Is that fair? Like, that's our whole goal, is to empower you with the resources that you need to take care of yourself and your family and your loved ones and go make a difference with energy to spare. Sheila, thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. Oh yeah, the pain point. Is that okay? Yeah, let's just so I can get that one here. So again, that didn't make it worse. The back one didn't really feel like much before. What's that like now?
It's not sharp, it's tender.
Tender but not sharp.
Not sure.
And that one there.
That's a lot better.
A lot better. So we see pain reduction. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me, Doc. I missed part of my slide. Is that, like, again, extrapolate that out now a couple months down the road and you've got equipment to heal your own self. What's possible? The sky's the limit. Yeah. So, options now, right? Keep doing what you're doing, get the same results, or we can start to apply things that we've actually shown you work firsthand and experience that for yourself. So here are really common questions that I get. That was staged. You've already met before, like all these weird things. It's amazing what people will come up with. But the bottom line is, like, how do I qualify, right? How do I know it's gonna work for me? And basically we do our assessments. You know, if you've already had lab work done, you've already doing certain things, we need to know about that. But we'll go through our workup and see what's there, what's going on, and do we specialize in the main inflammatory drivers that are causing your problem? You know, if there's some other advanced liver scenario going on, we might need some other help to, but we'll figure that out along the way and do our assessments. And then how long does it typically take? Again, assessment's about an hour, so that's not too involved. And if we need lab work, we'll figure that out along the way. But that's about the length of time. In terms of healing, that's going to vary depending on what Jermaine mentioned too. It's like, how full is your battery charged up, and how many drains are on your battery during the day. We have to figure that out along the way. But commonly, if we're applying this kind of technology like we're showing you, we're seeing amazing changes in 3 to 4 months, if not sooner. That's pretty common. Yeah. Insurance coverage. What do you think? Yeah, no. Why not? It's holistic. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the hard truth really is Medicare writes the guidelines for this stuff. And they say anything that's necessary, or they say anything that is designed to make your quality of life better is not medically necessary, which is crazy, but that's the guideline. I didn't write it. It's anyway. And then most insurance companies follow Medicare's guideline. And so just to be straightforward and honest with you, there's going to be out of pocket. There may be some reimbursement if we need to do some manual therapy, like adjustments or other manual therapy, but for the technology, they're not going to cover it. Okay. What else to say on that one? Any other questions on the insurance part?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
So it couldn't even be considered physical therapy.
Some parts would be if we do certain therapies in the office, then there's a code for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in terms of like owning technology that you use at home, yeah, they don't. Yeah, and let's be honest, Medicare and all that, are they looking for the cutting edge stuff, or are they just trying not to go broke? Right, this is kind of the state of that situation. I'm not going to get into more of that on that one. But yeah, insurance companies are not like, oh, they will pay for your medication and your radiation and surgery and all that nonsense, but for whatever reason, this isn't on their docket. Yeah.
If you're like insurance company, you have to do like HSAs and stuff. You can use.
Oh yeah, HSA, not a problem at all. Health sharing companies like my family's a part of, we actually write a check to a family and not to an insurance company. And so we share each other's medical costs. Those are all applicable. There's a bunch of ways to do that, but as far as like the insurance company reimbursing you is not going to be part of that. Which then leads to the last question, like, well, what is this? What's an investment like this in my own health and my family's health, right? Depends on what's going on. I would be remiss to just I can give you a range that we commonly see if that would be helpful. But everybody's case is different. If you're just newly dealing with this, we might just need to run some labs, figure out what's going on, and it might be some diet change in nutrition. If we're leveraging all the technology and doing, the light, the electromagnetics, and you own that equipment, obviously that's going to be more. Does that make sense? So it's we got to figure all that out. Ranges can be anywhere from a couple $100 up to, we've had families invest in equipment for their entire family, and they're in the $19,000, $20,000, $25,000 range for years worth of care. So it really depends on what's going on. Very drastic ranges in what's possible. Here's what I do know. If we can help you, we're going to do everything we possibly can within your means to support you. Just bottom line, people treating people with dignity, right? We need a little more care in the healthcare. So, with that in mind, here's my promise and commitment to you. We're never going to waste your time or money. All right, we seem silly to have to say that these days, but if we are unable to help you or support you, we're going to just tell you straight and refer you to somebody that can get you into some good hands. Okay? So, how do I start using something like this? Here's our simple process. We have a 2-day process. We have our intake, information gathering, and then we have a follow-up visit where we go over results and plan. Okay? So we do our consult. We're going to give you focused attention, learn about your struggles and goals, and what do you really want back. We just need a little more energy, or you want to solve a major health issue. We do our comprehensive neurological thyroid exam. All that information on here. We go through, one of the things is heart rate variability. It looks like a pulse ox, but it tells us about in 5 minutes where your stress level's at. And so we can see if your stress score is really high, it might take longer to heal than if it's down in the green range. Does that make sense? So this gives us a good idea on where you're at with the stress marker. And then I want to see this one in the middle. Is where it should be not cranked up red hot and all dysregulated. We check your trauma pattern to see if you're in fight, flight, or freeze and what that looks like. So we'll know what you're doing with your nerve system. We review any labs that you would have or order whatever we might need to, get the information, put all that together with the team. And we sit down and go, okay, what's the best thing to get their goals back? How to make that happen? And then we get back together and go over your plan. How bad is it? What's going on? What's it going to take? How much is it going to cost? We're going to go over all that in the second visit. Okay? That's everything on one slide. Total value of everything for those 2 visits is $875. But here's what I do know. People that take action, like Sheila's like, yeah, pick me. I want to feel a little better. Those are the ones that win. So for those of the people that want to move forward with us, we're going to actually give you some bonuses here. We're going to give you an energy boost treatment. And we're also going to give you 25 anti-inflammatory recipes you can start using right now to start healing and winning with your thyroid. Okay? Everything together, total value, that's $945, but we all know insurance is going to kick in for this. I realize that. So we're doing everything on there today for 167. That's supposed to say 6. Okay, that's our May. It didn't work, right? So yeah, everything there is 167 for the rest of this month. Okay. Is that a little more than fair? Crickets. No. So here's the deal. If that's something you want to take advantage of, go talk to Leslie and Aaron. They got appointment dates for first available. If you need time to figure out what that looks like in your schedule or whatever, just say, hey, what's at the seminar? And I want to take advantage of that. We're not hard sales. You know, if you want to use that, great. If you need a day or two to figure it out, call us. We obviously can't promise you first available appointments, but we're going to honor that. We're going to support you with that. Any questions on that part? So instead of 945, you get the bonuses. It's 167 instead. Is that clear? Everybody got that? All right. How do you take care of that? We talked about that. Talked to Leslie and Aaron. And from the bottom of my heart, thanks for being here today. Did you learn something valuable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I've done my job. Saw a miracle, honestly, with Sheila. Like seeing her energy come back like that, starting to heal is amazing. Would you mind, whether we move forward or not, would you mind giving me a call or a text in a couple of days saying, here's how long it lasted? Yeah, it might be, I don't know if it's tomorrow or not, but I'm always curious to find out what that looks like. Yeah, because everybody asks me, well, how long does it last, right? Yeah. So we go to gather that information. That'd be kind, thank you. Awesome. I will let you go this evening. Thanks for being here. I'll be here if you have specific questions you want to chat about for a minute. Otherwise, God bless you, and until next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Your chart, you've had pituitary there, I have pituitary tumor. How does pituitary work into microadenoma? It's not anything that is actively.
So just gotta hang out there. Nothing really. Okay, yeah. So pituitary, it's your TSH. So if pituitary's off, it will affect hormones. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there something to,
Yeah, no,
something
so
different that,
again, if there's
as opposed to just thyroid? Because like that's kind of like my whole thought is like, well, what do I do to get my pituitary functioning correctly? Because if that's causing everything else to, all the other hormones. I mean, I've been on thyroid medication forever because that's what they caught first. But then,
Yeah.
okay.
So what's a tumor?
The
So,
growth of
right?
cells.
Yeah, so the battery and the pituitary's been draining. So we figure out what's causing that, and is there a way to make that different function, whether it shrinks or not? Maybe not. It's not growing, not a big deal. We can energize that tissue. But there's a possibility to change everything else. Does that make sense?
So the
Same concept
same
applies.
concept is just
Just really
re-energy, re-energizing that
And what
area.
tools we would choose to use to make that happen. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing we have on hand I didn't talk about was microcurrent. Yeah. That's another secret weapon we've got. It's not really a weapon. It's a secret healing weapon. We can literally target energy into tissue and get very, very specific with it. So just that is like dialing in the pituitary radio station, and then we can change inflammation, we can change infection, we can change toxins, like we can target the function we want to have it in that tissue with electrons. And that's the electricity part. Really exciting stuff. So that's a possibility as well. So yeah, in short, there are options. Yeah. Thanks for asking, Heather.
I have two questions.
Sure.
You said about the heavy metals that the dental health can be full
Yeah.
of. What were you talking about exactly there?
Mercury specifically is a big metal.
Yeah, but with the dental health, what were you talking about? That it can cause
Oh.
issues
The mercury.
or that?
So
it-
typically, if you've got mercury in your teeth, like people like they used to put a lot of mercury, and now they're doing more composites for various reasons.
I
Yeah,
did not know you're back there.
and you can also inherit mercury from your great grandmother. So we know that metal toxins passed down to the placenta. And you can get that generations later. Yeah.
And how does it? So I have chronic Lyme, and I had it when I was younger, and then it just caused a lot of autoimmune.
Right.
How do you go about like your practice? Does that also help those, or is it
Yeah.
kind of just help the thyroid and then hopefully calms down other?
You know what? Great question. Mine's another area have expertise in. I've been doing that for 20-some years. I've had it. All my family's had it. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean more than a year. You probably have exposure,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. And yeah, there's some things you have to be mindful of with Lyme. But again, it's an opportunistic organism, and so if the body has enough energy to deal with it, right, you can be fine. And so there's plenty of people that take bites, they get Lyme, whatever, and they're like, whatever, no big deal, and I'm fine. Right? Other people just get wrecked. So we have to be like, look at those, what's the lymphatic system doing? How healthy is the immune? Are there metals that are comfortable? Like there's a lot to wade through in that. But again, if you solve the underlying energy debt, then the body's got the resources it needs to start handling things. And so we're very familiar with Lyme here. I can spot one on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of those people that was allergic to the medication.
Yeah, exactly.
What caused it to be chronic.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But I'm
And so with that, we have to look at like blood-brain barrier. That's a whole other piece of the puzzle. If the brain's leaking, then everything's an allergy, or you get allergic to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be a curiosity there too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Oh yeah, you think I'm interesting about how much stuff I have.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you.
I was wondering, because you said something about opportunities of being able to treat yourself at home.
Yeah,
I was trying to find some more information about that.
sure. Yeah. Totally.
So like, how do you go about getting that?
Yeah, like how do you get that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Depends on what you need. I mean, there's a million things you can like vitamin and things like that. But for
What's it
that,
called? Red light therapy?
yeah, that's a generic one.
Okay.
But for not specific enough when we're dealing with like chronic thyroid or energy issues typically,
Right.
very simply like flashlight. You blink on and off. So you can say like Morse code back in the day, like you blink it, it's like telling certain messages. Well, laser, you blink it at certain rates, targeting certain tissues in the body.
Gotcha.
And so we can get real specific with the energy we're using with the laser or with the electricity, and so we can target way more specificity with that. So to answer your question, how you get it, we do an assessment to figure out what you need, and then go like, here's your options. Here's what you can play with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like it costs this much. It's like a.
Yeah, we don't do sell equipment.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, no, we do doctor supervised programs.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not like a retail. Hey, go buy it. No,
Okay.
these are all prescribed for you.
Okay.
We show you how to use it. We program it for you. We're like services up here. This is how we pride ourselves on that.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, there are a lot of things you can get online and be like, you're going to try this, that, other thing. There are a lot out there that's available. I mean, like the simple vibration thing, you can pick that up, just about anywhere. There's a lot of them out there. So that's not the specialized thing.
Okay.
But for light therapy, microcurrent is definitely prescription. Prescription use that one. And then PMO therapy, again, there's some things you need to be aware of before you jump into something like that. But generally speaking, yeah. So help you figure it out is the point. Is that helpful? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, because like I was just, and then as you were saying it, I thought that was going to lead to that. And then it was like, you were saying it's about setting up the thing, and if you wanted to be able to do this at your convenience.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was thinking there was gonna be more information about that.
Oh, sure, yeah, that's a great question. So, and that's something I could add in later on.
Okay.
On the next one, that helps me get feedback on how to use that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, how to do that at home. And typically, once we know, okay, like you're shielding, and now we know there's history with liver. Okay, cool. We know a lot of the thyroid hormone converts to the liver. So then we would target energy to support that,
Right.
and then be able to guide her more specific on how to use what and get better, quicker results. Instead of like, here's this light machine, go buy it, try it at home and say, feel, you know, it's a different layer of
So
focus.
when Dr.
Jeff.
Yeah. So when he actually he had specific placements to put it on her based off of what she told you.
That's in the screening we did.
Yeah.
He's a pretty smart dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just like, so all of that was the evaluation.
Yeah, I was sitting here listening,
Gotcha.
program
Okay,
and stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was just trying to.
No,
I like to connect dots and I get
Absolutely, man.
information.
And that's
to
why
it.
we ask questions to learn together. Totally. Yeah. What else can I help you with? So you had information on what would be helpful to know.
Sorry.
You know, what else do you need to know? How else do you support you?
Well, actually here because of my wife, I'm not really sure how the thyroid, like, cause I don't know, she might have something going on with the lymphatic
Uh-huh.
in her head,
Okay.
ear, and causing like she lost hearing, like out of the blue, just listening in her left ear, and then to balance it all up, she got to walk with a walker and all of that. So and then nobody seems to understand what's going on. Did all of the tests, there's nothing. The tumors,
You're fine,
no,
you're fine.
nothing.
Yeah.
All the blood work is fine. And so it's just like everybody scratching their head. So it's like, you know, change the diet, going to an all fruit diet, and just watching everything,
Uh-huh.
just trying to figure out, you know, where, you know, any crumbs, any breadcrumbs in there is anything. Yeah. So just trying to collect information and trying to help get, you know, solution.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if this would be helpful or
We
not.
didn't really talk about that in the workshop, like creating your singular problems.
Yeah.
We're free to.
Yeah.
I would want something to check out to help her support with that. I'd be happy to support you guys.
Yeah, I would definitely need to schedule something for her in the future. I mean, doesn't seem like nobody else has any answers, so it's not gonna hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, nobody. Ear, nose, and throat,
Yeah.
neurology. Nobody seems to have any because there isn't any clues.
Right.
If you can see something, a tumor or something, they have something to go by.
So that's okay. Yeah.
And she even took 2 shots, steroid shots in the eardrum. Still nothing. Still complete loss of hearing in her.
Wow.
Her vertigo
Uh-huh.
is off the charts. Like she can't even walk. Like if she doesn't have the walker, she's all over the place.
Dude.
And she's young. She's like 37, and just overnight this happened.
Huh.
Overnight, just
Sounding virus or a Lyme situation. You do that where they do that. And they're easy to miss test.
right.
I guess you got me thinking now, man. I'm gonna be thinking about this tonight.
Yeah, because we even trying to we're about to go do like a detox,
Right.
full body detox if it is,
Yeah.
you know, a virus or some sort of parasite or something. Because I think one of the doctors was thinking, well, maybe it's a parasite. And that because he said that can get into your system and cause all kind of stuff. But you know, so then waiting on stool samples to see. You know, nobody seems to have any answers.
Yeah. I mean, and they've got parasite. You're not going to see the stool. I mean, unless you get into the brain like that, you're not going to see the stool typically.
Right.
Yeah, you get in here seriously. Let me see if you can figure something out. I got 6 seconds now. Yeah. Is it gonna help?
I mean, do you think it will help if you guys got to look at it or not?
Yeah, we would need to look at it for sure. And then I think,
We can at least help point you in some direction.
yeah, and these are some answers. And,
Okay.
yeah, that's my. Yeah, and that is what I think could be, we might have solutions. If not, we'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So I definitely go for a consultation and we'll go from there.
So,
I'm gonna see when she has availability.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll take one. So I don't have to do it now, or can I do it and change it?
yeah, I mean, I don't know, up to you.
Call when you have a
Yeah.
date, it's easier
Yeah,
for them.
that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said by the end of the month, so.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I call that part.
Yeah, you gotta look at
Me
it.
too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that all the time, you know what I'm saying?
I know, I gotta take advantage of it.
Yeah, buddy,
But I appreciate you, Tommy. Thanks for the invite.
absolutely, glad you're here. Thanks for taking good care of your wife, man, that's
Yeah, I'm awesome, man. We just got married in
Are
February.
you serious?
We got married in February. 3 weeks later, all of this happened.
See, February was the year we got married.
Yeah.
Really?
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah.
February, walked down the aisle, danced, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
March, we're in
Honeymoon's
about
over.
6 or 7 doctors like trying to figure out why she
Man. Yeah, no.
Sometimes you sign up for way more than you
That's
anticipated.
it.
But that is just how life is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Have a great one.
I was working on relaxing, so I didn't catch as much after that.
Yeah,
but
we got-
the $167 hits you. I did have a bunch of blood work done for the ER last month because of how I was feeling. So I don't know if the blood work I already did would actually be useful.
Likely. I mean, you can
I can
start.
show it to you.
Let's do that at the end of the evaluation. Time to actually decide, like,
Okay.
yeah, I don't wanna change you.
Because I have battle scars from the ER,
Oh, my.
so I don't wanna
Yeah.
go do that again if I
No.
don't have to.
Yeah.
I also don't know
Just
what,
bring that with you to your assessment and look through
I
that.
also don't know what it's gonna cost me just from the ER. So
Oh.
I don't have insurance.
Yeah, that's,
I'm a little scared of that stuff. But I
You don't know that either.
yeah, I know.
I've
They
reached
just
a
make
tipping
numbers up.
point where I need to do something
Yeah.
more. So I understand the 167 is the initial, like, blood work.
So we look
There's
at
zero treatment in that, in the 167.
We're doing for the atomics in that one. That's the bonus that's in there.
Okay.
And we'll probably use it right now. Like, it's, you know, a little bit of retro history. We're cutting out to be the demo. Take care of it. Yeah.
But what is the next, like, increment? So, like,
Yeah.
you set up a regimen, is it like a weekly visit, is it
Yeah.
what? And like,
Good question.
what is a month of that? What does that cost?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yep.
what's the breakdown?
Again, a lot of the rules there. But like I said, is figure out what's going on, how many multiple reasons we're to deal with, and then go, what's the plan to actually accomplish this? Like, what's the main? What are we really trying to get to? Are we trying to get some more energy? Or are we just trying to like repair a liver? Or we're trying to get you tools for the long haul? Like, there's so many questions. It's hard to answer a number as far as price is concerned. Because the worst thing I can do is put a number in your head and then like way off one way or the other. And it's like that's just not gonna
But
be.
what is a lesser treatment plan? What does that look like versus a more intensive treatment plan? What does that look like
Wow.
as far as cost or number of trips? Like, I'm over an hour away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes more sense to get you credit for a home and see what is here. Like, so these are the things that come up like consult, you know, like in an exam. How do I best answer this for you? Like, honestly, it's
Is there a way to jump in and try the program for a month
yeah,
and you pay for that, you know, and
yeah,
and then that might be the end of it
yeah,
versus,
right.
you know,
That's a good starting point, and we absolutely.
because I was hearing well into the thousands
Mhm.
and there's a whole lot I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Simple answers, we got options. We explore whatever we need to. Like, I hate this fabulous, but I still have more information I need to have to really answer the numbers question in a meaningful way for you. So, I wouldn't say just what little I know of your history, if I'm going on that one alone right now. We know you got thyroid and similar.
I've been battling the low energy and the stress, and I feel like
Wait,
I'm
try,
carrying.
so like,
So then I started drinking more coffee and snacking more to try to fuel energy. And so then my diet went down.
we have to support liver, kidneys, tongues, drainage, fix the emotional trauma brain, like, on there. Honestly, you can't hold me to this at the moment, but you we can probably get you a liquidity to rent or something like that, or to use for a month at home. Maybe maybe 2,000 to 4,000 each, something like that is a guess. If you own it, then we got that conversation if that makes sense. The first step is like, I want to see how many puzzle pieces we really need to get through to support you in a meaningful way, and then I can better answer. But we're seeing putting a number out there that's that's probably reasonable. We're gonna do a month and support you with technology at home and diet, nutrition.
Do you guys analyze like the metals in the body or the toxins or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that like fingernails or what? How do you assess that?
We like to do neurological recognition and see what your nervous system is reacting to, and that's a clue as to what you're handling or not handling, the drained energy and the quantity of metal that you're getting.
And that's in the 167. You have that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So we went for rule screen metals, infections.
Because I've not had any kind of screen like that, so that would be very useful.
It's all not anything, we're not poking you in anything, we're not. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if we need to run labs, we can have that conversation about what we might need to do next.
I'm a very analytical person, and you
Totally
mentioned
fine.
physics. I love physics.
Okay. Yeah, you're like, awesome. This is
You're
amazing.
probably not gonna talk enough about physics
Yeah.
for me.
Cool.
But
So
when I
you're
look
going
at the
to-
bottom line, I look at is there something to show for this?
Absolutely.
And that
So
that
write
feels
this
like
down. There's a book called The Resonance Effect by Carol McMahon. Carol McMahon. M-A-C-K or K-I-N. M-C at Nick. M-A. Background information and concepts in the physics, how it works, how it applies, like tools that make sense, we can leverage to treat liver, thyroid, you name it. But you get a lot of good information. You get the audio book or the hard copy, whatever you like. And there's a bunch of podcasts if you really want to know about. You can listen, there's a YouTube channel she's got.
all right.
We do all kinds of clinical, so have fun with that. That'd be another area to research some more.
And I'm a firm believer in chiropractic care. I've been going to chiropractors since I was 17.
Awesome.
And part of what I have going on was I got a thickness in my neck and a lump under my jaw. And I went to a chiropractor and he was like, you are all jammed up in your lymph.
Yeah.
So he worked on loosening it up, and in a few days that lump went away.
Cool.
Now I have another one on my, it's like where my tonsils were. I have my tonsils abscessed 15 years ago and I had them removed. But it felt like it did it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've been eating garlic and massaging
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
gargling and stuff. And today now it finally feels like that's resolving.
Good.
But like I've got icky stuff going on that seems to be connected.
Makes sense. Yeah. Well, Jill, let's figure this out,
Okay.
and give you some support.
Okay. Thank you. I just ran across this thing on the internet. And I thought, well, Campbell's not too far away.
Perfect. Where are you coming from?
Huntington County.
Okay.
Little town out in the country. I'm a farmer.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for making the trip in.
I'm guessing this is the closest you come. Do you have multiple locations? Or this is
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, always like some location, and then right before we come, we shut her off one and like a second one.
Okay.
But that's in your point. It's kind of care.
New York is better for us.
Georgia's even further.
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's where my husband passed away, was in York.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you like, I'm gonna go there anytime soon.
Well, I actually have friends there, so I get there. So yeah, I feel like driving down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, use that fast second. Do that. Like, let's be powerful for you. You just tip your toe in. Harder and fast, but like, feel it, treat it. That'd be useful.
I wrote down the part about focusing on the stress, the anger, the negative, focus on releasing that outside of the body.
Yes.
But then the positive,
Yeah.
the joy, the peace, focus on releasing that inside the
Have a
body.
heart, pump that. Keep that.
And I'm a firm believer in the Lord. I
Yeah.
know you're on Sunday for healing
Awesome.
and seeking His direction.
Patients are supposed to be here. That's what here. This is how we roll. Yeah, you guys here.
I didn't get through this with the Lord.
Hey Sheila, we'll see you soon.
Is there a product for the liver?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, we actually, it's a policy that we have for us. Take that for you. No, you're good. No, you're all good. Okay, you're your seat. And then we'll see you tomorrow. All right. All right.
Like prescription medicine, you know, I take that over 500
I wouldn't start my mind. You're right. Put some white on that. Two. This is nutrition for comprehensive nutrition.
Okay.
You can use the word there. In their fish shop downstairs. They
I
have.
seen you had the little bottle.
I think it's really
Yeah, no.
No, that's a manufactured nose. Yeah, these for 4 years. We don't have seamless.
Alright, what are we doing for you today?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to be appointed? If you want to look to see if any of these appointments will work for you first, those are the soonest that we have. If they don't, I can
Yes.
Nah.
Yeah.
I seen it because I just wondered if it was one of the.
Yes, you
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
had two tomorrow morning, so we'll just
Yeah.
like one.
Here, this is pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of research.
Tell me, unfortunately.
That fell apart.
Yeah, my phone part, we just got this thing started.
Right.
Things are up. Yeah.
Right information.
Good. All right, man, we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Just like I said, just call, let me know you were here at the seminar, and then we'll give you the seminar.
Thank you.
You're
Have
welcome.
a good one.
Okay, just. I'm here. Monday the 19th at 10.
Correct. So I'm going to have you write it down. I tried it afterwards because I didn't hear no, but the other question so I'm going to write down the first name, the last name, the phone number, and date of birth. So it's and then I will do you prefer paperwork or electronic? It's a vacation schedule. Some people prefer paper, it's easier because some have an issue like insurance on. Yeah, so I'll do, it's probably easier to do this is the one that I've been waiting people later.
So I have a name now.
Your birthday, a good email. And that'll walk through this.
Now, you won't send no personal information.
No, everything is so on email, it's just if we send, like, you may get a text message and you your paperwork, but you're already doing this, so just say, I have paperwork. Yes. So we have a system called Review that automatically sends you a text for your age, for your minors. Yeah, that was on a different.
Okay. Is this to bring back then?
That's the freaking. Yeah, okay. We asked for it 24, if you're in the area, you drop out on it. Okay, just bring it back in, you just drop off the bar. So just like, if it is, you'll get a reminder saying it's 10:20. Yeah. The reason why we ask for an email is because if we, for some reason, have to, if Bob was like a script, if it's a certain script, it's not through the email, like if we don't have those in office or if you leave it in the labs, we have to make sure it matches your email to make sure that we, if the labs are able to send it. So,
However,
we're gonna do the district.
Yeah. And I asked
terrible. I'm gonna go make sure.
So with this supplement, you're going to do that. It helps. And yeah, so yeah, it's so, and it's called right. Yeah, and the cool thing about it Jeff, heart level, liver, how, is it liver or heart and?
Oh, yes, to take this.
I'm not sure.
Okay, can you ask me really quick?
Double check there.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter what it says, with food is better.
And then it's like,
It says one. Okay, you know what?
we don't ask for that all the time. No, you don't, unless it's.
Since I knew I was cheap, I don't really trust it.
Yes, that's why we don't send things because So. And I don't think, like, I
I have email on it.
yeah, if you can, try to send us out. Because it does it shows that you have a credit to 167 for 10 for your countries. But you have a credit on your account of 167 because you haven't used that yet for your first payment. So when you come in on the 19th, then it'll show that. If you do have any current lab work that you had that was
I have it in the portal.
yeah, so if you can either email it to yourself or I'm not email, you gotta email. Screenshot it and you know how to scan and send it to anybody.
I have to do a page by page. I'll see if I can get it to print the PDF.
Yeah, print it to PDF, bring it in, we can put it, upload it into your file and go straight from there to your file.
Yes, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, any information that they have would help because it's not waiting. We will see you on the 8th. If you have any questions or have to cancel or reschedule, just call us and we'll get you on the schedule for the day you have to.
Thank you.
Wait, what?
We're talking about parasites and the bowels. Listen, if we're being honest now, why your body isn't doing what it's supposed to, parasites is another. It's a big possibility.
Horse ass!
No more snuggly bubblies. Because you're snuggly bubbly.
Horses are the cats and the dogs.
So remember, I just warm myself when I run the horse.
I mean, we have two more years to work.
First time I get a little too much, it's about 1,600 pounds, and then you're like, oh, 10. 15 pounds here.
I've been tired for 4 weeks.
I can't figure it out.
I started a horse business.
I'm terrible.
There's no roof over that, I don't see it. It's right.
That's like Brandon. She was
It's not
really
worth
worried.
It's not really worth it.
I don't know what happened. Well, you want me to do essentially before this, like, I don't
Alright, let's get this stuff done. Yeah.
You know, like you could say,
I'm a home. I'll take out the one scratch, right? That's the order.
We'll order gifts and stuff, see, that's what happened to be the transfer, so I could do the biotics order, and that's $1,000. So, and then we have the DD, pump and some the other stuff.
I don't know if I want to like FedEx these little packages.
No, that thing just goes to the regular post office. Yeah.
Do I need to have it insured? Well, it's not really.
At least that gives them an idea of like, if they want something.
But we are gonna have to track that, like, at FedEx or somewhere, it just needs to be
You
tracked.
want me to go on the next one, or what do you want me to do?
The,
But that's what I'm on, that's what I'm Friday, because you have a couple days. That was what I was trying to do.
It's still out in the next 2 weeks, once this thing expires. I don't want it to.
But it's like, this is like, how's the schedule look Wednesday, Thursday?
this week is not too
We
bad.
need to go, like, so we should probably get it out this week.
Yes, we need to get out this week, so we can have it back every day.
As long as they lead to instead of like, you know, so it proves to them that that's a better investment than just investing. Cause Jeff, even Thursday, it's stacked far enough apart that it's not gonna overlap.
Yeah.
The only one that we might have an issue with is tomorrow, which we can modify that easily. We'll just tell Joey to be full. Yeah. We'll just have her do it and space out. So even if you take it first thing in the morning or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of good.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
So, should I have a water sample for my house? We don't need to be hydrated with water. I'm drinking out of water.
Oh, I can guarantee you. Like that's what you want. The beginning of the day, our water is so bad. Let me start bringing you a gallon jug of water.
And she actually said to me, she goes, at this point, she's like, I'm willing to invest in my health and just want to what you're going for is the right one, that it is for me. So. It's straightforward to go about this, is what it's going to cost. I'm not telling anybody that it's going to be $2,000, $3,000, is the minimum on the negotiation. So, they have that in their head when they walk through the door. And that's, and I do say, and that's very minimum with women at home and coming into the conversation, I mean, overall, I think we're doing pretty well. Like, I think the day ones, like, if they're getting a lot of information, because I feel that a lot of the day students, I don't feel like they're having as many questions as they were before. So it's getting a little more straightforward, like, I don't have to convince anymore. You know what I mean? Like, their questions are less and less in day two. Yeah, so. No. So I think it's working. Whatever they're getting on day one, I think it's really making a difference. Great. Like honestly, like if I had to yesterday, or whatever. Honestly, I mean, I think
You still going to the dance?
it's sad. I wanted to live this very word, the new one. When I went out to get her, I tried to do it, it's like there's a specific way that she does it, and it's okay, you're out, I can go ask her, I'm gonna do it for you, but you for sure. So I go out and I'm like, she's eating, she's like, I'm eating. I'm like, are you for real? And then she comes in, still shot food in her mouth, and she's like, what's wrong? You can't move your shoe on? Yeah, she pulled up the car and then we got to come in and then like slide the big door. And do his thing. Oh.
What do you think her? What'd she do for you? Oh, that was frustrating to me. Yeah, oh yeah, I had to do that on this keyboard. Ah, there you go.
It's like, oh, we don't like the way they make it sound like, oh, it's sound
Yeah, because he couldn't even fill out his paperwork. I had to write everything for him, so I had to sit and go through
not even
everything.
necessary for that.
Stop smoking. Like, start there. Poor guy. So bad. I didn't even walk out. I'm like, oh, let's stop it.
You told him
But it's
that.
like, hey, I'm thinking, I'm like, at some point, together, at some point, that doesn't happen. You know? It is hard to watch, right? Like, somewhere it went downhill. Like, somewhere. Oh. Oh, yeah.
You want me to take care of the whole thing? You know, we also is the one that gave that Russell. Oh, sure, it's what the overnight is. What do you want to do for the? Yeah, so we have a little package that so that's what I'm separating the two. What's
That's it happens. They want to make sense to get insurance on Yeah. It's
You have a list of persons you want to. Oh shit. I don't have. Oh, I think we said that we would let them know and just not give them smart or something like that. Oh, you know what?
I don't want to rush tonight. I don't know. Make sure you get that right. That's why
Send your US box.
I trust it.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
It's not worth it.
Say, I don't even know if it goes in with it. If they probably have copy, but the address is here, so that's why. Yeah, I believe that's what it makes sense. I was like, I didn't know where to ship it.
These are the three things that need to go. Yeah, envelopes.
The only one that really overnighted was.
All right, good night.
Good night. Yeah.
Oh, and Aaron and I worked on Christy Huffsmith.
Yeah.
Huffman, sorry. And going through, she owes us $761. Yes, of therapy. Yeah, there's 4 days that she did not pay for her stuff. And I think it was because she kept saying, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do another care plan. Do I need another care plan? Do I need another care plan? And then I know you gave
Well, no,
her,
because it's like we wanted to come with another care plan.
right,
Like that's what we were like. There was a whole bunch I was like, let me talk to Doc and let's put together the next step. And
Yeah.
she's like, I don't want to just lenient the way that we're doing. She wanted
Yeah.
and
but, I mean, so if we put something together for her, I mean, that is still, she still moves that. So,
Okay.
put something together and,
Plan for her.
right, yeah.
and you were done her plan.
I did. Okay,
I
cool.
think so.
No, I couldn't find one.
I did, no.
Was it the one with the microcurrent? Or did you just talk to her about microcurrent?
Wait, maybe I did do one. No, I did present, I
Yeah.
did one in March for her.
Yeah.
And then she didn't do it. So that's what I'm saying. She kept saying over and over, I want a care plan, I want a care plan. And then when I gave her that one in March, she didn't do it. And I don't remember why.
So she needed to talk to her husband about the finances.
Right.
That's what it was.
Okay, so I'll call her tomorrow.
Alright. What is anything you say about that money Egyptian? Anyway, there's probably something here we can put it with.
Okay, I gotta go home and let the dog out.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll see you in the morning.
Okay. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you. Be careful going home. What?
like,
We're still
we're still alive.
We're still streaming. Okay, I will help carry this to your car.
Bye, everybody.